we want to use the quadratic formula to solve 11n squared minus 9n equals 1. To use the quadratic formula, you need to have a quadratic equation in the correct form. So we want this to be of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This equals 0 part is important because then we can clearly identify a, b, and c. So let's fix this up. 11n squared minus 9n minus 1 equals 0. And now we can clearly spot our a, which is 11, our b, which is minus 9, and our c, which is negative 1. Okay, now we're ready for the quadratic formula. There it is. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you do not have that memorized, pause the video and memorize it now. There's no way around it. Have to memorize it. Okay, so let's do it. All right, so we're going to plug in here. X equals negative b, so negative 9. Be real careful with your negatives when you solve these things. Plus or minus the square root of a whole bunch of stuff. B squared, so negative 9 squared. And see how I put those parentheses around that to make sure I square that out to get a positive. Minus 4 times a, which is 11, times c, which is negative 1. All over 2a, but a is 11. 2 times 11. Okay, so let's just cook this down, see what we get. Okay, so negative 9 is positive 9, plus or minus the square root of 81, that's positive 81. We have a minus times a minus here, which makes it positive. So it's plus 4 times 11 times 1, which is 44. Okay, all over 2 times 11, which is 22. Okay, 9 plus or minus 81 plus 44 is square root of 125 over 22. Okay, so we're close here. We are close. The only thing is to see if we can simplify this 125 in here at all. We can. Let's take a look. We're looking for perfect squares that are factors of 125. Well, here's something here. If we divide that by 5, we get 25, which is a perfect square. So the square root of 125 is really the square root of 25 times 5. Out pops a 5, and that leaves us with 5 root 5. Okay, so we have 9 plus or minus 5 rad 5 all over 22. And we just give it a quick check to see if we can simplify anything. We have 9 and 5 and 22. Nothing in those simplifies. So there is our answer. And really it's two answers. 9 plus 5 rad 5 over 22 and 9 minus 5 rad 5 over 22. Let's try another one. For this one we have x squared minus 13 equals 5x. Again, we want to get it in the right form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So let's just subtract off that 5x so we can get 0 on the right side there. X squared minus 5x minus 13 equals 0. All right, now we can clearly identify our a. Well, our a, there's nothing there, so we fill in the hidden 1, and that's our a. Negative 5 is a b. See how I was certain to include the sign in that. Negative 13 is our c. Again, I include the sign. All right, so now we're ready for our quadratic formula. There it is. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Memorize that. Let's do it. Okay, so we have x equals negative b, so negative 5. Again, being careful with my negative signs here. Plus or minus, so it's really giving us two things for the price of one. Big square root, because a bunch of stuff is going in there. Negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 13. That's my 4ac. So again, I'm careful with this negative here. That makes a difference. All over 2 times a. Well, a is just 1. Okay, negative 5 makes it a positive 5, plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared. See how I'm careful to square out the whole thing, thus making it positive. That will always happen to your b squared term. You should never have a negative left over once you square that out. So 25 minus times a minus is a positive, so plus 4 times 13, well 4 times 10 is 40, plus 3 times 4 is 12, so that's 52. Okay, all over 2 times 1, which is 2. Alright, so we're boiling it down here. 5 plus or minus 25 plus 52 is 77, all over 2. 77 is 7 times 11, so there's no perfect squares tucked in there. There's no way to simplify this any further, so there's our final answer.